Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter is a very special chapter. It's a very short chapter. It's called Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion. So, in the journey of Gita, after having given the complete wisdom in the second chapter itself, Krishna then gives in great detail the way of Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, and then culminates that with the vision of his universal form called as Vishwarupa Darshan, which was the subject matter of the 11th chapter, the last chapter. And Arjuna was bestowed with this special vision, which is the cosmic form. The cosmic form is the revelation that the entire universe, as manifest in all its infinite forms, is one interconnected being. Just as the various limbs and parts of the body all have their own unique functions and yet they are all interconnected, similarly, the whole universe, all the various beings and various objects, energies, all of them are one interconnected being, each with its own unique functions. And that is the beautiful vision that Krishna gives in Vishwarupa Darshan. And further he says, therefore, that all activities emanate from me and they come back unto me. Everyone is only an instrument. You are only an instrument, Arjuna. All activities are done by this divine energy. So what was revealed in the third chapter, that all activities are done by Prakriti and only the false sense of doership due to ignorance makes one suffer. So that was visually revealed in the 11th chapter, that the entire universe, all its activities are an expression of the divine energy. So seeing this revelation, Arjuna is overawed and he glorifies Krishna, as we saw. And now 12th chapter begins, and so he asks a question. He says, having seen in this vision of yours, now should one completely just surrender unto you in this way you have revealed yourself, or one should focus on realizing the eternal unmanifest being? So the manifest vision is the one that Krishna gave as the Vishwarupa Darshana, as the universal form, and the unmanifest is the substrate, the pure essence. So Arjuna's question is, should one devote oneself, surrender oneself to this manifest form, or should one try to realize the unmanifest? It's a very interesting question. So Krishna first replies by saying that the one who completely surrenders unto me, who recognizes that God alone exists, that everything that is here is simply an expression of the divine, he realizes me through his reverence. He says, with Shraddha, the one who completely surrenders unto me realizes me. The one who is trying to realize the unmanifest, which is called as Aksharam, Anirdeshyam, Avyaktam. So it is the unmanifest, unnameable, indescribable, that which is the source of everything, if one wants to realize that essence directly, it is also going to lead to the same place, but it is a very difficult, arduous endeavor. So, this is the interesting and very insightful instruction of this chapter. So, when we look at the nature of reality, it is important to begin with where we are. So, that's one way to understand what Krishna is teaching here. So, the way we are right now, what is the reality of this moment, is always the best place to begin with. If we begin with an abstraction in our mind because of learning about the essence of nature, that it is the unmanifest pure consciousness, then we are going after something that's abstract, which is based on knowledge, but which is not based on where we are right now. So, if we look at our own reality, wherever one is, whatever thoughts that are there, whatever challenges that are there, if we recognize through that first that all of this that is manifesting as the body, as the mind, as the various activities of the body mind, and all the perceptions, all the experiences, all of this, if one recognizes that all of these are a divine expression, they are not happening through either my agency or through anyone else's agency. There is no me or other here. And if one, through one's inquiry, therefore, one recognizes that the notion of individual agency is illusory. What is manifesting here as all the various variegated forms is the one supreme energy, and that's the vision of the cosmic form. When we recognize that, then that gives us the natural sense of silence within, and that silence, which is the essence of pure being, which is pure awareness, which is pure peace and joy, shines forth on its own. On the other hand, if we straight away go to understanding the infinite, understanding the unmanifest, it's always problematic because it causes one to get caught in abstractions. The mind, when we use the mind to understand, the limitation of the mind comes in the way. So we are trying to make it an object of knowledge, use logic, and one can use all that to have understanding even at an intellectual level. But that understanding does not meet the actual problems of living. So this is why Krishna says that klesho adhikatarastesham avyaktasakta chetasam. So the one who directly goes behind the unmanifest, for him there is a lot of challenges because of this. Because the intellect is of the nature of getting caught in abstractions, and it is always going to be coming up against its own limitation in understanding the truth. And because of this, there is always going to be some challenge. So therefore, Krishna says very directly that it is not about which is better or which is worse. Both are there, but the natural way is to start from where you are. Even if one is drawn towards studying and understanding the unmanifest and so on, without the attitude of surrender, which is a simple recognition that whatever is manifest every moment is a manifestation of the divine. Without that, it simply remains knowledge, and knowledge is only memory, and memory accumulated, however profound it might be, does not reveal that which is beyond all knowledge. So that's why the power of devotion is to completely surrender each moment, recognizing the divinity of this moment, here and now. And that gives us the silence, which is unnamed, indescribable, unborn, and all the various ways in which one can only negatively describe the truth. And the very fact that all the adjectives of the truth are always given in the negative is something very important to notice. Even here it says Aksharam Anirdeshyam Avyaktam. So all of these are negative descriptions because truth can never be described in positive terms through words, through the intellect. The intellect is only a tool for recognizing the false as the false. Self inquiry is only for recognizing the false as the false. The attempt to grasp truth through the intellect always meets with frustration. There is a small, beautiful anecdote or incident in the Leela of Krishna which symbolizes this, where Mother Yashoda tries to bind Krishna with a rope, and whatever rope she brings, she's not able to bind him. She keeps increasing the rope size, but somehow it keeps falling short. And then finally, when she gives up and surrenders, then Krishna allows her to be bound by the rope. So it's a very sweet Leela called Damodar Leela, and it has the beautiful inner symbolism of this very insight. The one trying to measure, so the rope is used to measure, and Krishna is the ultimate truth. So the one trying to measure and understand truth will always be frustrated. But when one surrenders, recognizing that one's sense of doership is never going to get there, and the doership drops away, only then the truth reveals itself. Krishna is available to Yashoda there. So that is the beautiful essence of this few verses where Krishna says to this good question of Arjuna that by completely surrendering every moment, see, he says Satatam, always, Nitya Yukta, always completely Nitya Yukta Upasate, the one who always surrenders unto me every moment. For him, it is very smooth and it is very seamless because we begin with where we are. We don't take flight into any abstractions. We don't get caught in intellectual knots. We simply recognize and observe things as they are, and we notice that the very observation happens by the divine. So if we start simply with the fact that I see things, then I say that the seeing happens not by my volition, but it happens because of a complex set of processes which makes the seeing happen. Same with hearing. I say I hear, but I am not causing hearing to happen. Hearing is happening. So the subject and the object of hearing are both happening. The fact that I say I see or I hear, therefore, can be seen as only a linguistic expression. In reality, the seeing happens, the subject of the seeing also happens, and the object of seeing also happens. Same with every sense, same with every action. And when we recognize, therefore, that all activities are thus done by the divine energy, then that is surrender. And that is also the true self inquiry as well. It's the one and the same, because it is through negating the false sense of doership that we realize the truth, not through understanding truth. So that's why self inquiry and surrender both are a negation of the false sense of me. And the false sense of me goes through this clear perception and recognition that all that exists is the divine energy, and that which is the source of this manifest divine energy is the pure silence that can never be captured in any way. Only when the individual goes away, it reveals itself. There is a beautiful couplet of Kabir that just comes to memory. He says that प्रेम गली अति सांगरी दूजा न समाय जब मैं था हरि नाही अब हरि है मैं नाही. He says the way of love, divine love, is such that only one can exist. When I was there, Hari, or the Supreme Being, was not there. Now the Supreme Being Hari is there and I am not there. So that is the essence of devotion as well as wisdom. So this yoga of bhakti, what Krishna says, is this recognition, therefore, that by negating the me through surrender, you can realize the truth, not by trying to understand the truth. So then Krishna says, goes on to describe the qualities of such devotion. He says, if you simply dedicate, therefore, all your actions unto me, then that is enough, because by making sure all the actions are dedicated unto me, you are always going to be free of this false sense of doership. So every action you do, you always engage in it as a dedication, as an offering, recognizing that it is the divine interacting with the divine. So the action, the doer, the object of action, all of this is happening through the divine. If you recognize that, then you are free easily. If that is difficult, Krishna says, always bring forth this realization through abhyasa. Abhyasa means through perseverance. So what is necessary is alertness, perseverance, and being able to keep coming back to this realization. So it is not something, therefore, that one can just see one time and then go back to old ways, but it requires abhyasa, means perseverance or practice, where every moment one is alert. So if it's until it becomes natural, one has to persevere at it. And this perseverance is what makes sure that the momentum of the false sense of doership goes away. Every time it rises, it has to be seen through as false. And Krishna further says, you can, even if you are not able to be alert while the action happens, at a minimum, you can start by giving up the results of the action, what's called karma phalatyaga. So that's why, even in the second chapter, very beginning, Krishna says, don't claim any right to the results of actions. So that is the very beginning, because if we, and in fact, it's the very end too, if we look at it carefully, because if we recognize that we don't have any right to the results of the actions, then that instantly frees us of any expectation, any fear, any desire, any of that. It gives us the recognition that the results are happening through the divine ordainment, whatever is meant to happen. And when that peace comes, a full acceptance, then it results in acceptance of every moment, because each moment is nothing but a result of some past action. So every moment is happening apparently as a result. Everything we perceive, every event that happens, is a result of the past action of oneself or others. So if you have the attitude of accepting the results without any reservation, then that instantly brings forth peace, it brings forth wisdom, it brings forth everything. So Krishna says, just start with karma phalatyaga. If you just are able to live in that acceptance, that alone is enough. And that's why Krishna says, to summarize all this, it is better to first have wisdom, the right wisdom, which is the right perception. And with this wisdom, one can engage in meditation. And this meditation can then help one be free of this expectation of results. So, and when that happens, peace comes. It's a very nice verse. He says, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat jnanat dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phalatyagas tyagat shantir nirantaram. So with wisdom, one can engage in this abhyasa, which is perseverance, and that results in right dhyana. And dhyana gives us the platform. When we are meditative, only then we can accept the results, karma phalatyagam. And when we are in full acceptance of everything, we are in peace. And then, in a set of few verses, Krishna summarizes the quality of such a being, which is very important to recognize. He says, such a person is having no sense of enmity towards anyone, friendly towards all, free of the sense of me and mine, and constantly equanimous regardless of whether there is pleasure or pain. Always content, always peaceful, ever surrendered. So these are all the qualities that manifest for the one who is fully surrendered with no sense of doership, and who realizes thereby the inherent peace, the stillness, the eternal essence of being. Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukka sukha kshami. The one who is samadukka sukha, same in pleasure and pain, without any sense of me and mine, without any sense of enmity towards anyone, friendly towards all. So all of this manifest in the one who is living in the way of full acceptance. So if we are trying to cultivate qualities, it is another way in which the ego perpetuates itself, to be trying to be good, to trying to be friendly, to trying to be humble, and so on. and it never works. There are so many books written and people have self-improvement courses and so on, but all of this are always partial because the self improvement enterprise is only to make the ego feel more secure. It is in self negation that all these qualities manifest automatically. When one recognizes the falsity of the sense of me and mine, then friendliness, contentment, acceptance, equanimity in pleasure and pain, all of these manifest. Therefore, the wise one never falls for self improvement. He recognizes that there is no self. That is the key insight. The individual self is the root of all problems and it cannot be improved. It only has to be seen as false. And from such a state of being, there is no anxiety for anyone. It's another beautiful verse which we have actually gone into in detail, this one verse. Yasmano dvijate loko, lokano dvijate chayah. The one, such a one, is not having any anxiety by the world and he does not cause any anxiety to the world. Both ways are very true. Being at peace means one doesn't cause any anxiety to others and one is not subject to any anxiety either. There are some who may be able to simply cause anxiety to others but not subject to anxiety themselves. That still means they are having a certain type of ego that is doing that, and the other way around too. But the true egoless one can neither cause anxiety nor himself feel any anxiety. And he has no expectation. He is always clear and he is always detached. He says, Anapekshaha shuchir daksha udasino gatavyataha sarvaramba parityagi yo mad bhakta same priyaha. Krishna says, the one who is dear to me doesn't feel that he starts anything. Sarvarambha parityagi means the one who has given up this idea that I start actions. That is a very important, again, reminder that anytime an action begins, to have this notion that I am starting this action is the very beginning of the root of ignorance. So to have no sense of ownership of any action is the nature of a true devotee. And therefore he says he is neither excited nor anxious, neither he suffers in terms of sadness, nor does he have expectations and has any kind of anxiety because of that. He says, Yo na hrishyati na dveshti na shochati na kankshati. He does not have any sense of duality, therefore. He is not having, na shochati means he doesn't feel any suffering. Na kankshati means he doesn't have any desire. Free from desire, free from suffering. He remains completely ever the same, and that is the nature of a devotee that is dear to me. He further says, Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha mana apamana yoho. So he is the same whether there is praise or whether there is insult. Mana apamana. Again he re-emphasizes, he says, Tulya ninda stutir mauni. So ninda means to be insulted. Stuti means to be praised. He says Tulya, he is the same. Doesn't matter whether somebody praises, somebody insults. He remains still santushta yena kenachit. He remains content with whatever comes. So these are all the qualities of the one who manifests or these qualities rather manifest in one who is free of me and mine through surrender. So therefore, Krishna says, concluding this verse, he says, the one with Shraddha, the one with reverence, who's my true devotee, who's fully surrendered, he is always abiding in this state of peace, which is immortality, which is eternal, which is my own state. He says, Etu dharmya amritamidam yatoktam paryupasate Shraddhadhana matparama bhaktaste ativa me priyah. He says, he is the dearest to me who is as devotee, as fully surrendered, being in fully accepting anything and everything, equanimous, unaffected by anything. He abides in me all the time. So that is the glory of devotion. And this is how this chapter ends. Bhakti Yoga, as it is called. The yoga or the way of devotion is the way of surrender, which is the way of peace here and now. So it's a very beautiful chapter which gives the essence of surrender as well as the way it manifests, the way the one who is in this state of surrender, acceptance, lives life free here and now. So this is why spiritual wisdom is never about getting something as a reward later, but how we live now. And Krishna says how one lives now reflects one's inner state, and the one who lives in peace has all these qualities: equanimity, unaffected by praise and insult, same towards all, same in all situations, no desire, no fear. And all of these qualities manifest through this surrender, through the beginning with where one is. So that's why it's a very short, beautiful chapter that guides one all the way. Just begin where you are, recognize the divine as the essence of this moment. I don't have to then understand anything other than this moment. Whatever manifests this moment, recognize that to be divine. And when we begin with that recognition, then and we hold on to that recognition through alertness every moment, then that takes us to this way of living where all these wonderful auspicious qualities manifest on their own. So that's the essence of Bhakti Yoga, the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. A very beautiful, short, special chapter.